Oh no. Remember when everyone was complaining about the fact that you couldn't play with your friends in Super Mario Maker 2 online? I too was very disappointed that this feature was missing, but the last thing that I expected was that online multiplayer wouldn't even be functional. This honestly might be worse than day one Smash Brothers Online. It really is that unplayable in some cases. If everything works as intended, the online mode is actually pretty fun. But as a competitive mode, there are a lot of shortcomings, but we'll get into that later. I can see it getting really fun once we're able to play with friends and all that. For starts, I have an Ethernet to USB adapter, and I'm always hardwired to my internet on my Switch. Here's my internet specs, so you can see that I have a pretty stable ass connection. Yet I still run into frequent and rampant and unplayable lag online. And y'all know what that means. Nintendo took all our money and still didn't give us dedicated servers. That's right, we're back to a network just based on you connecting with everyone in the game. Meaning the base communication rate is just based on the worst connection in the lobby. The best part is this doesn't just lag the hell out of your game, it also makes the queue times unbearably long as you try to connect with someone that has a horrible internet. Some of these queue times feel like they take forever, only to be greeted by a game crash or Switch doesn't connect or some random ass error message. Just boot the ass hat with the bad internet. Don't boot me out of the queue. Look at this. I paid for this. What is this? This is in fact even worse than Smash because they never suggested getting an Ethernet cable or a stable connection before going online. They're just like, yeah, you know, there's an online feature. Go online with your terrible McDonald's Wi-Fi. It's fine. And of course, with the game mode being set to 4 players, that's an extra 2 people that you have to worry about connecting to than Smash. So the possibilities of it being lagging like crazy or 2 people in that lobby being unable to connect with a very, very unstable connection is incredibly likely, especially on a handheld portable console where most people are probably going to be playing with Wi-Fi anyways. There is a little connectivity strength measure before connecting to a game, so that does have that over Smash, but this doesn't work. Here's an example of me having full bars, but then getting into the game and it literally is a slideshow. Or you'll be in a game and it seems fine, and then suddenly you get an insane lag spike that just completely eats all your inputs and makes you miss a jump. Again, with multiple people being in handheld mode or playing off of a wireless connection, there is so much opportunity for someone to have a random lag spike or an unstable connection that just throws you off completely. It's so frustrating, especially when you just have your inputs completely eaten. Online is split into 2 modes. An unranked cooperative mode where anyone has to hit the goalpost and you all win, or a ranked competitive mode where the first person to hit the flagpole wins. For the unranked mode, there is no excuse for the lag, and every player would be willing to wait the extra minute, that's an extreme case, the extra however many seconds to get into a game that actually has, you know, a playable frame rate. For ranked, it seems like you play with other players within the same ranking as you because the difficulty of the levels that you play is based on your rank. So for example, me being a D rank, it seems like I got a bunch of normal levels, so of course they would want to rank you with other D rank members. Since you are unable to choose the difficulty of the levels you want to play in competitive, you're at the whim of whoever is in that ranking that can play online, and if you can't connect with any of them, then it's tough shit. A way to fix this is maybe if online competitive actually let you choose your difficulty based on whatever rank you're in. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Smash had it right with the preferred rules, that you could set your preferred rules to a difficulty, let's say, and then go in competitive. That way, stable connections has the priority when you queue, and not just trying to group everyone of the same rank, which then sacrifices connectivity just so that you guys can get in a game with people with the same rank as soon as possible. This is honestly so disappointing, and the reason why I didn't even think this game would have a connection issue online is because it's a platformer. What I thought would have happened was that you just play through the game normally, and then if people are lagging around you, they just seem to elastic band into the place where the game can deduce where they should be at that time. The thing is that every single style has the ability for players to jump on each other's heads and to bump into each other. I thought that this was just going to be for New Super U and 3D World. I didn't think that it would even go back to the original Super Mario Bros. And just because players can interact with one another, the game needs to decide where every player is at that instance, no matter how terrible the connection is. This really sucks, because now we're sacrificing the ability to just play through a normal platforming level just in case you interact with another player by jumping on their head or bumping into them. So if the game needs to be this way, where every single player needs to be at the same location for everyone's screen, then there has to be some measures put in place to not connect people that have horrible connections, especially when it's set to 4 people. This just goes down to Nintendo having a better netcode, you know, don't let people online if they have a really unstable connection. They added that in a future patch in Smash Bros, and I think that it's applicable here too. Connect 2 people of different ranks just so that you can have a stable connections, rather than connecting 2 people of the same rank just for the sake of connecting them immediately but having a game that's actually unplayable. Or set the netcode to not connect immediately with whatever available player and wait until there's an actual stable connection. Again, this was added to Smash at a later patch and it should be done here. And I get that different teams work on different games, but with 2 online modes having a complete disaster of a launch, they need to learn this stuff for other games. Of course, the main reason they need to learn this is because this is a service now. We're all paying for this. And I get it, this isn't the only thing you're paying for Mario Maker, since now you have to pay to even see levels online or to even post levels online. It's still a feature that has a lot of potential, and that's why I'm disappointed in it. And it was one of the main things that I was actually excited about for this game, you know, but then I found out you couldn't play with friends. And then I found out that it's a peer-to-peer network and that the netcode just tries to get you in a game as soon as possible, no matter how bad that peer-to-peer network becomes. Okay, now that I talked about the biggest issue and what could maybe be fixed about the netcode, it's time to move on to the actual game modes. Again, there's unranked, cooperative, and ranked competitive. And if they want to keep you unable to pick the actual difficulty of levels in competitive due to them matching you with people of the same ranking, then I do believe that there should be a preferred rules set or a preferred difficulty level for cooperative. The voting system kind of sucks. If you just have a set preferred rule, it skips the voting thing every single time you get into a lobby, and you can get your actual preferred difficulty much more this way. As for the competitive mode, I noticed a few issues. An immediate insane issue I found, which I did not expect, was for clear conditions. So in this example, the clear condition is to get 100 coins. As you can see, as I collect coins, I cannot see the total of coins I have towards the goal. You'll see, however, since there's only a set number of coins in the entire level, that when someone actually gets the requirement to beat the level, the coin counter was actually cumulative between all 4 players. But then you can see that the only person that was able to actually hit the goalpost once a goal was reached that was cumulative between all the players, only the person that got the last coin in the goal was able to reach the goalpost. That literally makes no sense. And I have no idea how they thought this through. Of course, it makes sense that if you aren't the one that completes the goal, that you shouldn't be able to go to the goalpost. That makes sense. So you don't just camp it out and wait for someone to actually complete the clear condition. But for something that ends up being cumulative, this is straight up broken. This was the only case where I found where the actual clear conditions was outright broken. Other than that, it seemed to work, you know, defeat an enemy makes sense. The first person to defeat the enemy should get the goal. But for the cumulative ones, it seems like it doesn't really work all that well. And a way to fix this is maybe respawn the items or the enemies that you have to kill for other players to interact with. For example, you collect a coin and it's grayed out on your screen, but other players can collect it if there's a coin clear condition. Or if you need to defeat, let's say, 3 enemies of a certain type, that enemy will respawn for other players. Another thing I noticed is that you only get the number of points based on how many players were in the game when you actually beat the level. This means you get more points if you beat 3 players and less if you beat, let's say, 2 or 1. The problem with this, if players are running and they're behind you right as you're about to hit the goalpost, they can just quit, cutting your points short, knowing that they weren't going to lose anything. I tested quitting and you just get the same penalty as if you just lost the level. So if you know you're going to lose anyways, you can outright cuck someone and just leave to cut their points in half. That's a definite problem. It also sucks that you count as a loss if you leave, because, you know, if you get into a bunch of laggy games and you leave because you don't want to sit there for legitimately 15 minutes to wait for someone to beat the level, then that's just a loss for you and a cut at your points. But I guess in that sense, it's a good thing that there's not a more harsh penalty for leaving. But I do think that if you beat the level, you should gain the number of points based on how many people were there at the start of the game so that people can't cuck you like that. That being said, this game mode has a lot of potential and it actually is a blast when everything goes according to plan. Nintendo did add a bunch of things to fix the netcode in future patches for Smash Ultimate Online, so I do expect the same here as well. And I'm hoping now that just because when we get the feature to play online with friends and it will be unranked, that there still is the competitive game mode with friends, and that's not just cooperative since it's unranked. That's it for this one. Please Nintendo fix it, especially since we're paying for this. What has your experience with online been? Let me know in the comments if you haven't even tried online, or what's your experience so far with Super Mario Maker 2? Do you like the game? Did you get the game? If you're new here, be sure to subscribe with them post notifications on. I post highlights of my streams as well as more discussion videos. This channel's kind of all over the place, but it's all related around Nintendo games. And follow my Twitch for some streams, twitch.tv/mr.dodo_YT. Bye-bye!